Hello, and if you're just bumping into us, this is Centurions, where we feature man-made things that have lasted over 100 years. And on this episode, we're going east. This episode features the Forbidden City of China. The Forbidden City is a palace complex in Yuncheng District, Beijing, China, at the center of the Imperial city of Beijing. It is surrounded by numerous opulent imperial gardens and temples, including the 54-acre Zhongshan Park, the sacrificial imperial ancestral temple, and the 171-acre Beihai Park, and the 57-acre Tinshan Park. It is officially administered by the Palace Museum. The Forbidden City was constructed from 1406 to 1420 and was the former Chinese imperial palace and winter residence of the Emperor of China from the Ming dynasty since the Yongle Emperor to the end of the Qing dynasty between 1420 and 1924. The Forbidden City served as the home of Chinese emperors and their households and was the ceremonial and political center of the Chinese government for over 500 years. Since 1925, the Forbidden City has been under the charge of the Palace Museum, whose extensive collection of artwork and artifacts were built upon the imperial collections of the Ming and Qing dynasties. The Forbidden City was declared a World Heritage Site in 1987. The complex consists of 980 buildings encompassing 9,999 rooms and covering 720,000 square meters. The palace exemplifies the opulence of the residences of the Chinese emperor and the traditional Chinese palatial architecture, and has influenced cultural and architectural developments in East Asia and in other parts of the world. It is listed by UNESCO as the largest collection of preserved ancient wood structures in the world. Since 2012, the Forbidden City has seen an average of 14 million visitors annually and received more than 19 million visitors in 2019. In 2018, the Forbidden City's market value was estimated at $70 billion, making it both the world's most valuable palace and the most valuable piece of real estate anywhere in the world. The Forbidden City in Beijing is one of the largest and most well-preserved wooden structures in the world. It was listed as the first batch of national key cultural relics in 1961. The common English name Forbidden City is a translation of the Chinese name Zijinchen, Purple Forbidden City. The name Zijinchen first formally appeared in 1576. Another name of similar origin is Forbidden Palace. The name Zijinchen is a name with significance on many levels. Zi, or purple, refers to the North Star, which in ancient China was called the Zhui Star, and in traditional Chinese astrology was the heavenly abode of the celestial emperor. The surrounding celestial region, the Zhui enclosure, was the realm of the celestial emperor and his family. The Forbidden City, as the residence of the terrestrial emperor, was its earthly counterpart. Jin refers to a prohibition meaning taboo, no entry, or no. Chen means a castle, fortress, or fortification. Today, the site is commonly known in Chinese as Guguang, which means the former palace. The museum, which is based in these buildings, is known as the Palace Museum, Guguangbuyan. In Ming and Qing, the Forbidden Palace was also known as Danei, or Palace City. When Hanwu Emperor's son, Zhu Di, became the Yongle Emperor, he moved the capital from Nanjing to Beijing, and construction began in 1406 on what will become the Forbidden City. Construction lasted 14 years and required more than 1 million workers. Material used include whole logs of precious Phoebe xenon wood found in the jungles of southwestern China and large blocks of marble from quarries near Beijing. The floors of major halls were paved with golden bricks, specifically baked paving bricks from Suzhou. From 1420 to 1644, the Forbidden City was the seat of the Ming dynasty. In April 1644, it was captured by rebel forces led by Li Zinshen, who proclaimed himself emperor of the Shun dynasty. He soon fled before the combined armies of the former Ming general Wu Sangui and Manchu forces, setting fire to parts of the Forbidden City in the process. By October, the Manchus had achieved supremacy in northern China, and a ceremony was held at the Forbidden City to proclaim the young Shunji emperor as ruler of all China under the Qing dynasty. The Qing rulers changed the names on some of the principal buildings to emphasize harmony rather than supremacy. They made nameplates bilingual Chinese and Manchu and introduced shamanist elements to the palace. In 1860, during the Second Opium War, Anglo-French forces took control of the Forbidden City and occupied it until the end of the war. In 1900, Empress Cixi Taiwo fled the Forbidden City during the Boxer Rebellion, leaving it to be occupied by forces of the Treaty Powers until the following year. After being the home of 24 emperors, 14 of the Ming dynasty and 10 of the Qing dynasty, the Forbidden City ceased being the political center of China in 1912 with the abdication of Puyi, the last emperor of China. Under an agreement with the new Republic of China government, Puyi remained in the inner court while the outer court was given to public use until he was evicted after a coup in 1924. The Palace Museum was then established in the Forbidden City in 1925. In 1933, the Japanese invasion of China forced the evacuation of the national treasures in the Forbidden City. Part of the collection was returned at the end of World War II. But the other part was evacuated to Taiwan in 1948 under the orders of Tian Tie-she, whose Kuomintang was losing the Chinese Civil War. This relatively small but high-quality collection was kept in storage until 1965, when it again became public as the core of the National Palace Museum in Taipei. After the establishment of the People's Republic of China in 1949, some damage was done to the Forbidden City as the country was swept up in revolutionary zeal during the Cultural Revolution. However, further destruction was prevented when Premier Zhou Enlai sent an army battalion to guard the city. The Forbidden City was declared a World Heritage Site in 1987 by UNESCO as the Imperial Palace of the Ming and Qing dynasties due to its significant place in the development of Chinese architecture and culture. It is currently administered by the Palace Museum. In the early 21st century, the Palace Museum carried out a 16-year restoration project to repair and restore all buildings in the Forbidden City to their pre-1912 state, with the goal that 76% of the palace will be open to the public by 2020. As a result of that project, the shrunken palace was officially opened to the public in 2013, after initially being displayed in its original state. A sculpture museum was opened in the Xinxin Palace in 2015, also opened in 2015 were the precincts around Xinxin Palace and Yanyin Building and the East Glorious Dunhua Gate. The Forbidden City is a rectangle measuring 3,153 feet from north to south and 2,470 feet from east to west. It consists of 980 surviving buildings with 8,886 bays of rooms. The layout of the Forbidden City activated and protected the Imperial Code of Ethics as a physical installation. The courtyard was built on a massive, luxurious scale, but it has the appearance of an ordinary quadrangle courtyard. A common myth states that there are 9,999 rooms, including antechambers, based on oral tradition, and it is not supported by survey evidence. The Forbidden City was designed to be the center of the ancient walled city of Beijing. It is enclosed in a larger walled area called the Imperial City. The Imperial City is in turn enclosed by the inner city. To its south lies the outer city. The Forbidden City remains in the civic scheme of Beijing. The Chinese civilization is one of the oldest, and we just took a trip on this episode of Centurions. Do subscribe, like, and share. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'm Dmitri saying thanks again for watching. Bye for now.